Hello, and welcome to yet another Website Depot podcast. As ever, I'm your host, Greg Benevent, and I'm very happy to be joined today by Mr. Donald Brown. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing quite well, Mr. Greg. How are you, sir?
Oh,
Thanks.
I'm doing good. I'm hanging in. I'm hanging in. I'm a little congested with my allergies, but other than that, I'm all right. So I was hoping you could tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do and how you can help the folks listening to and watching this.
Great. Thanks. Well, actually, my name is Donald Brown Sr.
Oh,
I've been working in the field for quite some time. For the past 20 years, I've been a paralegal and worked for a lot of large law firms.
oh wow.
And during the course of that, I've ventured on to a lot of different ventures. And the one
Okay.
I'm really, truly passionate about now is strictly creating wealth, financial
Oh,
literacy. One of the things that I've learned in my latter years, and I feel it would definitely be helpful for someone to definitely think about these items before they
hmm.
reach my age. And so that
Oh
is
yeah.
my passion. So
Okay.
that the individuals that before me can get a chance to learn some things that I wish I would have been taught when I was sent during the younger years. Great.
Oh no, I hear you. I guess my first question when I hear that is like, okay, what exactly do you mean by financial literacy?
Financial literacy is something that definitely not taught so much in colleges. Yes, colleges, when you go to college, you take an
Mhm.
accounting class, but do they actually have a class where they show you how to write a check? A lot of youngsters, because I can
Not at
remember
my school.
college, uh, a lot of people didn't know how to write a check or
Mhm.
what the check is all about. But we go beyond that and explain exactly how interest is one of the items that can affect you in a lot of
Okay.
different ways, especially when it comes to loans and when you're dealing
Oh.
with certain finances. That is what I mean by financial literacy, not
Hmm.
just creating just finances for yourself, but we're actually going to teach you how to create generational wealth for you and beyond and your family. That's what my passion is.
Wow. Okay. So generational wealth. I mean, that's one of those things like, I've heard the phrase, but I guess it's one of those things. I mean, maybe speaking from being a older millennial myself. What is something when it comes to generational wealth you find that, hey, maybe folks don't know that they should?
One of the things we're going to teach you, it may be basic to some, but it's not. Credit is one. Credit
Hmm.
is an item that affects us for the rest of your life.
Hmm.
And in order to get your life in order, credit is where you really start because what credit does,
Oh.
it allows you a great buying power from
Hmm.
homes to cars to all the things in life that we actually need and want. But sometimes we don't have all of the cash to pay for things at once, at least some of
Hmm.
us. And what happens is that you're stuck in with the rest of us of paying interest. Well,
Hmm.
knowing what interest is and how it affects your life is one of the things that we do because you have to actually control your finance, make sure you don't create some debt.
Hmm.
A lot of debt can be wrong, especially if the debt has high interest rates. And this is some of the things that we'll be able to teach.
Ah.
Because you pass those habits down to your
Okay.
children and your
Hmm.
children's children. Once you, especially with our plan, we have programs that you can give to your students, and it teaches them all about debt, credit, and financial literacy.
Okay, wow. I mean that's what I was saying. Like, wow, it seems like that's a lot. You could tell us a little bit about what some of those programs are. I mean, I was just fascinated how these things can really help with credit. Like,
Under the protection plan that
uh-huh,
we offer, first thing we're going to do is we're going to restore your credit, if indeed it needs to be restored. Now, some
okay,
people say, oh, well, I have 650, I have seven. Okay, that's
uh-huh,
great. If you have that, at least you're in the ballpark. But
okay,
however, if you're paying high interest on a particular credit card, then we'll be able to point those things out to show you where you can improve upon
oh,
those areas. The next thing we do is we build your credit.
mhm.
From there, once we build your credit, then we start monitoring your credit. We get your credit to a certain level. You want to monitor the credit. And by monitoring, we also do protect your identity. We start doing
Hmm,
identity monitoring as well. And what comes
okay,
along with our identity monitoring is a $1 million theft protection plan that goes along with that. So we want to protect
oh,
finances. So as you very well know, great credit has to be protected, not for you,
hmm,
your entire family. That's what we do,
uh-huh,
especially when it comes to identity theft. It's a huge problem,
hmm,
especially in the U.S. But for us, that's also included in your protection plan.
Wow. Okay. So you help with protecting someone's credit. You also help with restoring their credit if maybe it's not in the best of shape. I mean, that's obviously quite a bit in and of itself. But like, what are some of the other ways that you might be able to help a person, better understand their credit or make their credit better, or like you said, help to generate that wealth there that lasts?
Well, part of the protection plan,
Mhm.
because we also have a tutorial for budgeting. That's where
Okay.
it starts. Because some people don't realize budget is great for everyone, whether you whether you're budgeting for college or you're
Mhm.
budgeting for your entire household. Okay,
Mhm.
but it's one way for you to stay close to your finances. And the
Oh,
next thing we also offer is debt payoff, debt that you
okay.
have. There's a
Okay.
plan for that so that you know exactly what your debt is and we can
Mm.
control your debt. Why? What comes along with the debt? That's where we get into the area of interest. We want
Ah.
minimize those interests that we have when it comes to that. So that's another thing. And one of the things most people don't realize,
Mhm.
myself included, because I didn't. We go along through life and we see, oh, we'll Google what's Warren Buffett's net worth. We never thought about ourselves. Here, we're going to teach you what your net worth is, because
Mhm.
as you grow your wealth, your net worth is going to grow. And you definitely want to know what your network is so that you can be in complete control of your finances.
Wow.
Saving goals. We have a
Uh-huh.
plan for you to continue to save. Continue to save. That's also a way of creating wealth and building wealth. But we also have one interesting services that I
Please.
just want to point out to individuals. We
Yeah.
have an item called the financial lockbox.
Okay.
And what that is, I can paraphrase this for you.
Please.
Back in the days, your old grandmother or your old, what they used to do was to take all the documents and savings and put it up under the mattress.
Yeah.
And that way everybody knows, oh, just
Mhm.
check up under the mattress. That's where she
Mhm.
stores things. Well, that was
Yes.
the idea of the financial lockbox. Considering now that
Mm.
we're in the digital age,
Right.
this allows you to upload your password, passport, driver's license, your wills. It's
Oh,
another
wow.
thing I'm going to talk about. Yeah,
Mhm.
all the pertinent documents that pertain to you when it comes to your legacy. Okay.
Mm.
You want someone, if it's not you, God forbid something happens to you, your family
Right.
doesn't have to go, and tear up the house looking for
Oh.
particular documents. Okay,
Yeah.
once they have the password, they can easily open up and have all your pertinent information right there in front of them. That's what the lockbook.
Wow.
That was the idea of the lockbook, which I think is a great service. A great service, because I did have an individual.
Mhm.
This is a story about the lockbox, but it came in handy.
Okay.
Individual went on a particular boat cruise
Oh,
and
geez.
he lost all of his documentation,
Oh, man.
but he had everything in his lockbox. So he went directly to his phone,
Okay.
pulled up all his individual documents, and he was able to show to get back into the country because it's right there on his phone. So that was one
Uh,
success story that I knew about the lockbox. So it is something very useful that you can have.
Absolutely. No, I mean that's an incredible tale. I mean, that literally was able to keep this guy's life on track just by virtue of having it. You mentioned we're now in the digital age and all that. And I was thinking about some of the educational materials you'd already mentioned. Like, are these things stay accessible online or through your phone? Or like how does the education aspect of so much of this work? Like, where can folks access it?
Absolutely. Once you purchase the plan, you'll be able to upload all of these items that I referred to you. You'll
Oh,
have
wow.
them on hand, at your fingertips. At your fingertips, which is what everybody does now.
Right.
Not too many paper. Everything is gone paperless now, and
Mhm.
so this is all digital. It's all part of the protection plan. But I'm also excited
Please.
that
Mhm.
the protection plan, even with the list of services that I spoke of,
Mhm.
starting in November, we
Okay.
have an additional to the protection plan, which is absolutely fabulous.
Okay. What's that?
And that service we call is Rocket Lawyer. If you Google Rocket Lawyer, you can see the value in that, and you can also
Mhm.
see the how expensive that it can be.
Yes.
Once you're on this protection plan and
Mhm.
your fourth month, this platform will be added to your protection plan as inclusive. There's no additional charge for that. As
Oh,
long as you
wow.
own the protection plan, you have Rocket Lawyer, which is absolutely fabulous. Just
Uh-huh.
to give you some of the highlights
Please. Yes, I was going to ask. Yeah.
of of Rocket Lawyer. The first thing that you can have is a digital legal plan. Okay, and what that digital legal plan, what it is, it's going to give you services for, if you're starting a family or renting, subletting, buying a home, getting married, or getting a will and trust. Okay. It's another because once you purchase a protection plan, there's a will and trust portal there, and it's also one with Rocket Lawyer. Okay, navigating to COVID, elderly care, immigration questions, which is a big for a lot of folks here, and
Certainly.
personal finances and taxes. So this is awesome when it comes to that, and this is all a part of Rocket Lawyer. Two, you can create your own legal document. You go into a particular portal, whatever the crisis is or the case may be, whether you're having a landlord-tenant dispute or the slip and fall in a store, whatever the case may be. If in particular time you need a legal document drafted, go into the portal, type it in appropriate areas, print it out, and you have a legal document in front of you. But here's the thing, though. You can also sign that document. Everything is e-signed. You're able to say, for instance, you're in negotiation. You can be in negotiation with an individual. You want to create a particular contract. You can send that legal document to them and have them sign it as well as yourself. And everything can be done right from your phone. So absolutely awesome. Okay. And another one that I'm excited about, the on-demand advice.
Okay.
Absolutely wonderful. If you're in a supermarket and you have a particular legal question that you want an answer to, whatever the case may be, you go into your phone. Once you open up your portal, there's a chat, type out the question that you have, and within 2 hours, an attorney would respond and you would get your response to that particular question. All of that. Yes. Yes, sir. Yeah, that is such a great program. I'm really excited about it because coming from a legal background, they put in all of the legal documents and things right there in your hand, and you can't go wrong. And besides, in everyday life, you have no idea of any situation that you may be in or whatever may arise. But knowing that you have the comfort, it's like you already have your lawyer right there on your hands. It's like having a lawyer on retainer. It's great.
I mean, no, just as you're talking, I'm struck by again, the idea that okay, I have this legal question while I'm, trying to figure out exactly what kind of pretzels I'm going to eat. And then I message a lawyer and I have 2 hours and they're going to get back to me in 2 hours. And I'm just thinking, geez, imagine how much that would have cost to even go have a consultation with an attorney to try and hire them, just what that would have been like.
Absolutely. And that's why I'm excited, because I know the difference. I've been inside the law firm. I've been a paralegal. We all know the paralegals prepare a lot of different documents. The lawyers sign some. But having that at your fingertips, again, this is the digital age. Before the digital age, everything had to be drafted. Fax machines to electric typewriters. Now everything is on the computer now. It's just a great move, and I'm just very fortunate and blessed to be able to see it. But I'm also very fortunate because I get a chance to share this information to individuals that are much younger than me and individuals my age, because sometimes, we step back from things that are new. But my wife, God bless her soul, she was the one that instilled in me that, I must continue on. If I don't embrace these things, then you're going to be left behind. And so that's one of the reasons why. I mean, we're at an age now where you can take a picture of a check and you don't even have to go in the bank anymore. So
right.
So that's what Rocket Lawyer is. It brings that kind of a platform to individuals, average individuals. And I just think it's great. And not only that, these services are available not nationwide, but also globally.
Oh, wow.
So it is phenomenal. I invite anyone to go Google Rocket Lawyer, and you can see what you'll be getting, as a part of your protection plan with us when it comes to Rocket Lawyer. I'm very, very excited. Again, this service starts in November 2021. And I just need to get the news out, and I want to make sure everyone knows.
As you were speaking, Mr. I had I have my laptop behind me and I have the Rocket Lawyer site up, and I've been trying not to, just look at the site and see how many different services there are on this thing while you were talking. It is extraordinary. I mean, I'm just halfway through the website here and I can count, 12 different services off the top of my head, just in my line of sight while looking at you. This Rocket Lawyer thing really does seem like something that, again, would be very expensive if you were to try and get it on its own. But as you're saying, it's folded into your protection plan that you're offering.
That is absolutely correct, sir. That is
Wow.
absolutely correct.
The other thing I wanted to say that I was so struck by in what you just said is that currently I'm visiting my mother for a couple days, and it's, and you mentioned about how maybe folks of a certain age maybe have a natural reticence when it comes to certain pieces of technology, and I've certainly seen that in trying to get her to do different things with her email and even with the TV here. So I was wondering if you could maybe say a little bit more about how easy, like we've talked about how technologically advanced the services that you offer are. If you could talk maybe a little bit about how easy they are to use and the simplicity with that.
One of the great things about a digital platform, there's always a tutorial that you go through that is also included in Rocket Lawyer. There's a tutorial there. Now, as far as the digitally, if you can use a phone, then you can do all your legal documents. That's so fascinating. If
Wow.
you do, or just right from your iPhone, you'll be able to have access to all these different services. And so that's another thing that excites me when it comes to these types of things, because that was the whole idea behind the platform. If you're able to utilize a phone, draft your documents that you need, and if for some odd reason that you actually need an attorney, you have all your documentation there, and what they do is that they'll give you 40% off attorney service that you need. Any attorney,
Whoa.
any company.
Whoa.
So that's almost half.
Yeah,
If you
that's
decide you need.
incredible. Yeah.
Okay, and now they will completely represent you in court, and you'll definitely get that 40% discount. You don't have to pay the whole board. We know attorneys are expensive anyway. So
Certainly.
and so that's another thing that really excites me, because
Certainly.
there was no discount when I was back working for the law firm. Everything was expensive. And one of the key points is that make sure you charge the client for this and that, phone calls, minutes for this. Here, you can for 30 minutes you can talk to an attorney for free.
Wow. I mean, that 40% thing's extraordinary.
It is definitely fascinating. And again, this is only one item that's been added to a great protection plan anyway.
Right.
Yeah. And what also I definitely want to touch on will and trust. Will and trust. Some of the wealthy don't even know about will and trust. They have attorneys do it, but it's so vitally important when you're building wealth, especially when it comes to finances. You want to make sure that you have all of your finances in order when it comes to that. And what a will and trust, you're able to sit down. You want to select a beneficiary, everything to do with your wealth, where you want it to go, so that if for some odd reason you pass away or your aunt passed away, whoever the case may be, if they have a will and trust, then they designate what happens to their wealth that they've created, and not let the state take it, because once they take it, it's over. A lot of people die intestate and they lose everything. And you have so many people, hey, well, I was a son, I think you should go to me, but there's nothing in place. And a lot of things go. The only thing they pass along is taxes. You'll get that. But a will and trust secures your legacy where you want it to go. And it's so vitally important. Here, it's now been reduced digitally. You type in your name, put in your address, put in a beneficiary. Then you type in those, oh, I want my son to take over as executor. Put that in the appropriate place. Stop, print, you have a complete document. And also a will, which is so expensive. Same process. Type in your name, who you want to be the witness for your will. You type that, you don't have to type it, and then say where you want to go. Print, there you are. You have your trust. That's what this does.
Yeah, no, I mean that all sounds great, and thank you for saying how easy and simple that is to use. I mean, I was very struck by it when you were talking. I think so many people, really of any age, think like, okay, a will or a trust, that's not really something I need to worry about now. That's something for further down the line. But man, it sure seems like, as soon as you got a pretty clear idea of things, it seems like that's something that'd be good to take care of.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because that is the mindset of a lot of people. They don't think they need it right now.
Right.
So they put that off to the side. But this almost educates you to do this. Why? Because this is a part of your finance. This is your literacy right here. And that's what I mean when I'm saying financial literacy. Colleges to teach you these certain things. These things are necessary for life. It helps protect you, your family, and your lifestyle. that you've created. Look here, I'm 60 years old. I know
Okay.
better. But guess what? I just completed my will and trust. My wife passed away 7 years ago. And so, at that particular point, that was a really rough time for me. But I did have a lot of things in place while I was able to, bury her, complete funeral, everything that I need. So what it did for me, it really taught me, because my dad was pretty great about that, had things in line. So I made sure that, I had things in line for her, and I had those things in line. But, as far as, will and trust, finally, decided to sit down, because now I'm creating more wealth. It's all inclusive, because you need to designate all those things that you have, your assets. They need to be, what I want to be done with them. So it's a part of your legacy. And two, you're going to be able to teach your children to do the same thing for their family and protect their wealth. Because once you create wealth, you have to protect wealth. You know that.
Right.
That's the whole idea. And that's what this whole protection plan is all about. So I'm very, very excited about it, because we're not here just to restore your credit, but how about your whole complete financial future? How about making sure that's intact? Because if that's intact, your credit is just going to be one item to make sure that that's intact.
Oh, that makes so much sense. I mean, when you put it that way, it does seem like something that, people should really take a very proactive stance on, and ensuring its viability. I was struck by, I mentioned one particular misconception that folks might have about, wills and trusts and that kind of thing. Are there any, misconceptions or, kind of false beliefs that you encounter people having that, hey, maybe some of your other products and services can help to make right or improve upon? Or
I know this is the best that's out there, period.
Okay.
Reason why is based on my experience, coming from a gentleman that typed up everything on a typewriter. I suppose now everything is being done on a computer. That's what actually fascinates me. And the good thing about Rocket Lawyer and the company that I work with, we're always updating and making sure everything is updated, so that we don't have any misconceptions when it comes to our product. We definitely stand by the product that we have. I am part of the product because it's done great for me, and I like to share that with others so that we can put them on the right path to financial literacy.
That's wonderful. I mean, as you're saying this, I'm struck by, are there any other questions? Is there anything that I haven't asked you about that you would like to tell the people watching this? Because you've given us so much in just a little bit of this.
Well, sometimes I can talk a little fast, but I think I touched on when you're passionate about something, it's easy to come and try to sell somebody something. I'm not trying to sell anybody anything. I'm merely pointing out the value of what this protection plan does. And I think the folks will look at the value of what we have to offer. You definitely need to service it, because what it does is gets your whole life in order, including your finances. I know people, because even by what I'm doing, there's also an opportunity to work and do what I do.
Oh, wow.
That's something totally different, because you think this is great. Well, I'm sitting here because I'm a product. If you're looking to maybe work from home, then you can definitely contact me. And this is hands-on training that you will have. And for, additional $100, I can have you work and become a business partner of mine.
Oh, wow.
Simply for $2.99. And that's a whole different program.
Yeah.
The compensation plan is wonderful. You work, your business is nationwide. You can work anywhere when it comes to do what I'm doing. So I look forward to anyone. If that's something that interests anyone, please contact, because I can definitely do that, because this is a great company. You get residual wealth, and you'll see this.
Oh, wow.
It's just a wonderful, great company that I'm working with. So I just want to throw that out there just in case.
No,
email me.
I'm so glad you did. I mean, I'm so glad you did. I do a lot of these podcasts, and usually it's someone that's offering one kind of product or one kind of service, whereas what you're talking about here, you're offering all different kinds of opportunities. I mean, opportunities to get your credit together, opportunities to get your future together, to build your wealth, and really a true employment opportunity, the kind of thing that really does lead to success and peace of mind.
Absolutely.
Uh,
I'm glad you
well,
summed it up great. I appreciate that, Greg. I really do.
no, that makes so much sense. That makes so much sense. Well, another question I got to ask you here is, this is a Website Depot podcast, and you're a Website Depot client. I got to ask, how's your Website Depot experience been so far?
This is my second go around with Website Depot.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
I'm a long time. So this is not my first time. This is I came back when I decided to do something on my own. So
gotcha.
I love Website Depot, man. This is my first stop. There's so many services out there, but for me, it's a matter of trust. And you folks, Website Depot, especially Danny Starr, I've been knowing him for years, and sat down and talked to him about another venture that I worked on. We worked very well, and here's something that new venture for me and Danny Starr and you folks, Website Depot was my first choice. So I'm going to be around.
It's very good to hear.
I'm going to continue to be around.
It's great. That's great. Hey, well, hey, that is all I have of my question. So how can we get in touch with you to get started with these different services, or to reach out to you about this employment thing? Where can we reach you?
I invite you to definitely check out the Credit Pro and check out my website itself. It's creditprosla.com. You can email me at dbrown.senior59@gmail with any of your questions that you may have, and I could definitely get you started. But if you go to the website itself, it also allows you to get started whichever direction that you're going to. But allow me to share some of the things that are, a lifestyle improvement when it comes to working with the company that I have.
Thank you so much for coming on today, Mr. Donald Brown. You have been great. I know I always say, I learned a lot during this, but I genuinely learned a lot during this. That was really fantastic. Thank you for taking the time today.
Appreciate you, Mr. Greg. You've been so gracious, and thanks for having me. I really enjoyed speaking to you, and I definitely looking forward to speaking to you again. I definitely would like to keep in touch. Okay.
Absolutely. No, we'll have you back at some point. This was great. Well, everyone, thank you for listening and for watching. On behalf of Website Depot, my name's Greg Benevent. Take it easy. Have a good night.